Well, welcome to the Dare to Be Great, Dare to Be podcast. My name is Sean Langwell, and I am your host. And if you like honest, vulnerable, and real stories about what it takes to not only become great, but self-confident and bold enough to be yourself, then this show is for you. Each of my guests started out as ordinary people like you and me and have accomplished extraordinary things in their lives to be considered great masters or experts at what they've been called to do. Join me each episode for inspiring, encouraging, and meaningful conversations with diverse people from all walks of life and industry. Leaders and brave individuals who offer unique insights into the fields of arts, entertainment, business, finance, technology, healthcare, sports, psychology, recovery, self improvement, and so much more. Whether you're in the same fields as my guests or not, I guarantee you will walk away from each episode feeling better about yourself and inspired to take the next bold step toward your own goals and aspirations. Your life will improve if you dare to be great and dare to be you. And folks, I have a very special treat with a legend in the sculpture and art world by the name of, I know I'm not going to overinflate it, but my God, you've been around a long time. This is Harkin Lucero Jr., and I'm not going to read a whole lot about his bio. I'm going to let you tell a little bit about your backstory, Harkin, because you've had a very long, storied past with some notoriety in terms of having your sculptures uh, placed in very influential places, shall we say. So tell the world a little bit about your background.
Well, you want to start off when I was little or what?
You can start back. What?
How far
Let's start
back you want to
teenage
go?
years.
Oh, yeah.
Teenage years. We don't want to go back that far.
Uh,
What actually? Let me lead this question. When did you first realize that you wanted to be an artist?
well, I started doing art when I was 2 years old.
Oh my
I
gosh.
used to make, I have pictures. My mom took pictures of me. I used to make, my first piece was a snow woman,
Okay.
not a snowman,
A snow
snow
woman.
woman.
At two?
That too. And my mom took, that was 1952. I'm 76 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So I did work, I did art all my life. When I was in grade school, I used to make wallets. Back in the day when I was in grade school, they used to have uh, different variety of things you could do after school. You could play basketball, you could do crafts, at the school.
Okay.
So I used to make wallets and things for leather things and give them away to people, change purses. And then when I got to junior high, I took a wood class, wood shop class, and a metal shop wood class when I was in seventh grade, and
Okay.
metal shop when I was in seventh and eighth, and metal shop when I was in ninth. They used to have that at schools, high schools, and
They did when I went to high school. They had a metal shop and they had a
you're not that young either then.
yeah. This stuff's kind of gone the way of the dodo bird, but
Yeah, it used to be different than just kids being on the phone all the time or on the internet or something.
absolutely.
Actually, I don't even own a computer. Joe has one, but I don't. But I'm from back in the day. I don't know how to even start a computer, and from the 60s. So when I got to seventh grade, had a woodshop teacher, Mr. McDonald, and he used to give us wood and little projects to do so we could put together things, like
Sure.
book troughs and things like that. And he used to have us sanding by hand,
Uh-huh.
no
So
sander,
no sanders, no
no
belt
sanders,
sanders,
no
no
nothing like
routers,
that,
none of that.
by hand. And I said, Mr. McDonald, my fingers are bleeding. And the kid said, our fingers are bleeding from sanding, from the sandpaper.
Yeah,
Seventh grade, your fingers weren't tough at
sure.
all. So he used to go get Band-Aids.
Keep seeing it, kid.
he, he wouldn't give you any slack, you had to do it.
Yeah.
And then, but that's where I learned, and every little, he used to check it, every little scratch had to be out.
So he was a little bit of a perfectionist then.
Oh my goodness. And then you know and then afterwards we lacquered them, and then I gave it to my mom. I used to make stuff for my mom all the time. I didn't make anything for my dad, uh except noise.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't make anything for my dad. uh I don't think he really wanted anything, but my mom, I always used to make things for my mom. uh but and then we got into high school. I got into crafts. They had crafts.
Okay, like pottery or
Well, I did, they had a lapidary.
which is
You made gold and silver work,
oh wow.
stone work, where you cut the stone on the diamond and then you do the lapidary work, do make the cabochons and then make your sets and do all the soldering, silver soldering and everything. And the teacher I had was from Italy,
Okay.
you know. So I did that for, Jesus, all 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And I
Okay.
used to have my stuff in the showcase all the time. So I was pretty good at it.
Okay. And then from there, did you
Mr. Bassetti, he was really a beautiful human being. He used to, before you get out of class, he used to check. He had a little rack on the wall with all the little tools and all the outlines of the tools where you had to put all the tools back.
mm-hmm.
And if the tools weren't all back,
Oh, so
you didn't
like a
get out
little
of
pegboard? Because
class.
my grandpa had that in his shop in the basement
Yeah.
in Daly City where he knew what tool was belonged where and he had a little pegboard and he
So
outlined it.
if all the tools weren't back, he checked the pegboard, and if all the tools weren't there, he didn't let you go to another class.
Smart
And
man.
then if you didn't go to another class, your teacher in the class would have you behind.
Uh-huh.
Well, where were you? What were you out in the back, smoking with the punks out there or
Yeah.
whatever?
Oh my
And I said,
gosh.
no, you couldn't smoke in high school, but the
Yeah.
kids used to sneak out there and smoke anyway, you
Yeah, and
know.
I don't know how much of that's changed in this day and age either. I
Now they
got I got
probably smoke.
stories up the wazoo, but this is about you. Just go tying
Yeah.
into what you talked about. I had a wood shop in high school real quick, and I at the time I was still smoking, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I made myself a rolling tray. He's like, what the heck is that? He's like, this is before, a lot of indica and stuff like that, where you actually had to separate the seeds from the stems. And I made
Yeah.
this little wood carving rolling tray. And
Yeah.
yeah, the very first art project I had was in kindergarten, and they said, what the heck is that?
You'd be out
It
of
was a
luck
slab
nowadays.
slab of clay, and I didn't know I couldn't be creative, so I took a pencil and I was so angry, and I kept jabbing this pencils in there, and I put it together, and the teacher says, "What is that?" I said, "It's an incense holder." And, and she shamed me right then, and I gave up art forever after
Well,
that,
you'd be
pretty
out of
much.
luck now because there's no seeds in the
Exactly.
cannabis they have now.
No, now
And
you
it's
get
not
it.
like old school. They used to have these little Thai sticks and things like that come from
Yeah,
Cambodia and Thailand and all
yeah,
over the
that
place.
that
And,
doesn't fly anymore.
no, they don't have none of that no more. It's So I did that in high school till I graduated, and then I said, my dad worked in the steel mill. He was an engineer. He worked in a place called the coke plant,
Okay.
where they get the powdered coal and cook it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a steel mill.
Sure.
They cook the coal and make it into, and they call it coke, and it would solidify into blocks or chunks. And they'd get it was in a battery, like a car battery, but real big one.
Okay.
And they had cells maybe about 4 feet wide, and they get a big machine on the other side of the battery, and they push all the coke out into a car, a big railroad car, and they take it to a place called the quencher, and they pull the lever, and a bunch of water come out and cool the coke. Then they take it over to a ramp, and they let it off. And uh, our job was to put all the coke that was still red hot and get big fire hoses and put it out
Oh my
and
gosh.
put it on a conveyor. And they had big gates you open up. I used to have to, I was only like 120 pounds and get on the gate and pull it open, and the
Yeah.
coke would roll down. You get it on and send it, and then go over to a blast furnace.
Okay.
So me and my buddy were there, and we were in a hurry, and we didn't want to wet it all down. So
Uh-oh.
we got home, and you hear the fire alarm going off from the steel mill, because I didn't live that far from the mill.
Kids, if you're watching this, don't take shortcuts, especially when you're dealing with fire.
So the next day, we were transferred to the blast furnace and got out of that department. So we didn't work there in that coke plant anymore. Actually went to an open hearth furnace,
Okay.
and that was a big furnace they used to have. And during the time, there was a Vietnam War going on then, so there were really a lot of production of steel going
Sure.
on. So they had this big building it was like a small building, you know, and it had doors on it, big doors that were water cooled. And they'd raise the doors and you could just see the steel bubbling inside. It bubbling. You had to wear little glasses to look at it, little dark glasses
So
to
is
look
it
at it.
similar to watching glass blowing where it gets to that molten level and you can shape
This
it?
was bubbling.
Oh my gosh.
And we used to have to line up. Maybe this phone. We used to have to line up. And Joe, can you take care of that phone? Thank you. We used to have to line up in a circle, and they had big piles of what they called cinder.
Okay.
It was like volcanic rock crushed,
Okay.
and get shovels and throw it in go next to the furnace and throw it in and go back around, and there's maybe 10, 15 guys doing that. And then another guy would come, an older guy, and been there probably since the Second War.
Yeah.
And his shirt was down, unbuttoned down to here and exposed. His chest was red, and he was chewing tobacco. And
There's an image for you.
he put his little glasses down and look at it, and then he'd go back and do that keep shoveling for a while,
Yeah.
and then he'd say, "Okay, I have about an hour doing that. You know, your arms are ready to fall off." And you say, "Okay, that's good."
Not to mention the heat coming
Oh,
off
the
of it,
heat was
right?
nasty
Yeah.
bad. I mean, bad, nasty. Because you get close to a furnace like that and you start burning.
Yeah.
And the guy, he'd get close to it and look in this little hole they had there. And he'd stay there looking with his glasses down, spitting his tobacco. And his clothes were smoking.
What the heck are you kidding me?
I said, I don't know who in the hell this guy
Something
is.
out of
but
a Stephen
I
King
said,
movie. My
"This
goodness.
guy's tough, you know."
Wow.
And they even had a woman working there since the Second War, and she'd be cleaning up with a wheelbarrow, a woman cleaning things up. So I said, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going to get the hell out of here. So
Yeah.
I went and transferred to an oxygen furnace. And the oxygen furnace was better than the open hearth, but it was still bad. I mean, they had these ladles going over your head. I mean, these things weighed tons.
Of molten.
No, it wasn't molten then.
Okay.
But they had them going over your head and going and set them down, and then another guy, they'd be there and they'd use dynamite to blow the bricks out of it because they were all brick lined. And these things were huge. And then every 45 minutes, they called it a heat, would come out.
Okay.
Because the oxygen furnace used to be where they get scrap metal, a bunch of scrap, and they'd get it in the ladle, and they'd take it way up, way up to the top of the furnace and dump it in the crucible in the furnace,
Okay.
all the scrap. And then they'd get the iron. And one of my jobs was they had called pig ladles, where it was pig iron.
I was going
from
to
the
say, I
blast
was going to
furnace.
ask you about that. Okay. So pig iron is basically the equivalent of all scrap where we recycle a bunch of
No,
old
pig
stuff.
iron was pig iron was iron ore that was melted
Okay.
with all the ingredients. They used to have a little car in the back, and I had a friend, Curly, Randolph Curly. He used to sit on a can, like a 5, 10 gallon tin can,
Sure.
and drive his little car and pull rings, and it had different mixtures come out of these stored big old things, and it would fill the car up, and you have to watch the scale and see how much it weighed, and then go take it and dump it. So I used to help Curly. He's telling me stories all night, and I'd be pulling the rings. But then every 45 minutes, that was the blast furnace.
Right.
But the oxygen furnace, every 45 minutes, they had the ladles go, and the furnace they call it tap out, and they have to go underneath, the transfer car go underneath with the ladle, and they let all the steel come out, and they come out and they get it in the big ladle, and they take it over your head and dump it in the furnace with the scrap, and then they put an oxygen lance and turn the oxygen big. I mean, this stuff was huge.
Yeah.
And they turn the oxygen on, and with a molten iron and the scrap steel, they'd make steel. And then they throw ingredients in there, whether it's chromite or different cinder, different additives, the kind of steel they wanted, they'd make it right there. Their ingredients for different things, they'd make it for if they want to use it for tanks or armor, or they change it around to cars or whatever, rails or whatever, because they had a rail mill. It was a big. They made nails, they made rails, they made everything in that steel mill like that.
That's amazing.
Had
And some
big
of that
plants.
industry's kind of gone away from
It's
the
all gone.
US. I mean,
They
US steel
they
used to
sold the
be
blast furnaces to China
yeah, okay,
because of the pollution.
sure.
Yeah, you know. And then after at the blast furnace, after they tap out, my job was at the blast furnace was to get this little well, it wasn't little, it was big, a jackhammer and a cage. And they take it over to the bottom of the furnace and they and it go down and sparks would be flying out. And you had an asbestos coat and your hair was covered. I didn't have long hair at the time, and a helmet and things over your head, and you had leather on your shoes, leggings they called them. And these sparks, when the sparks go out like that, it was like sparklers.
Yeah.
They didn't go out until they were all burned up. And if you didn't have your clothes on tight, they'd go down
Oh my
down through your
goodness.
clothes and just start burning the hell out of you, you know. And then after everything was out, the iron would come out one way, and they had gates. They put a gate down, and the iron being heavier than the stone, the melted rock, it would go one way into that ladle that I told you about, that football ladle that would go over to the oxygen furnace, and then the other way would go the molten rock. So my job was to go down there and pull. Had a little there, pull they call them they were like cones, big cones for slag
Okay.
for the rock. Pull the cars, and that hook probably weighed 100 pounds or so, and you had to swing it a certain way just to hook it onto the railroad car, and then turn your switch, and it would pull the car for the next car to get loaded up with slag.
And what you're talking about here is a young adult, 18 years old, is dealing with a lot of danger at a very young age.
There was guys get killed out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is not like.
And these guys that would get drunk or something, and come to work, they'd pass out.
I was going to say, this is probably not a job conducive to being high on the job, but
that was a no BS job, man. I mean, you had to watch. I was like a cat.
Well, yeah, you see sparks fly, you're like ducking everywhere.
And then they had at the open heart furnace, you had to watch as a light would go on, and then all of a sudden little cars would come in there.
And it's probably moving, everything's in perpetual motion, right?
Oh yeah, you had to keep up.
Fall asleep on the job here, literally.
And these cars would go in there and pick up molds.
Okay.
And the molds were probably 12 feet high, and with the diameter, it was probably square diameter, about 2.5, 3 feet.
Okay.
Wide, and big old molds out of iron. And then that's when they get that ladle and come over, and the guy would be there, and you'd have a big walkway on the top, flat, and then the guy would press a button, and a stopper would come out of the ladle, and that ladle was right over your head with with like 300-400 tons of molten steel in it. Yeah.
Could you imagine being in it? I mean, seriously.
It would pour out into the mold, and then they'd move the car and get molds, keep getting the molds. And my job there was to put caps on them, on the molds. And they had like a little A-frame with a hook, and you hook it and you pull it back and put a cap on it. But before you capped it, you had to, when you molten steel is real wild.
Yeah.
And you get a handful of aluminum BBs, like beads.
Okay.
And you throw it in there, and the steel would cool out.
Okay.
And then when they did that, then you get a cap.
It's almost like a paraffin wax on making jam or something like that.
You put a cap on a mold.
Okay.
And after every 45 minutes, you had to cap all these molds, and then when they cool down, you go take all the cap off, and by that time, it was another time for another run to come out.
So let's transition for the sake of time too. I mean, this is like fascinating.
I did that for 5 years, man.
And then, so what was the transition that moved from there into sculpting or
it was like
a professional artist? Because you've been an artist for over 40 years now.
It was. I went to work one day, and it was like 15, 20 below zero, And
Literally.
because this was in Colorado, and I was so tired I fell asleep, and I said, "What the hell am I doing here? I'm
Yeah.
gonna get the hell out of here." I never went back.
No kidding.
I just went home
Just like that.
just like that.
No
No,
meeting
never
with a
looked back.
therapist, no talking
No,
to all your
I
friends.
didn't know damn therapy.
I had to throw that in
You
there.
know what I mean?
Well, no,
No,
because some of us want to sit there and like weigh all the pros and cons of a decision. You were done.
I was finished, and I left,
Okay.
and I started doing a little bit of artwork, and I moved to New Mexico to my uncle's house. He was in Taos, New Mexico.
Okay. I've been there. I've been on
So
Four Corners and a little
yeah,
stick up
so
there.
I moved to Taos to my uncle's house, and I was carving, doing cedar work and cedar wood, and I did that for a while, and then I got the hell out of Taos. The Taos isn't what it's built up to be. It's like Santa Fe, it's Santa Fe is very superficial, overpriced,
Wow.
and a lot of the art they have there, everybody has different taste in art.
Sure.
That wasn't my taste. And I tried to put one of the pieces I had there in a show because they have Indian market in Santa Fe every year. And I guess the people of Santa Fe, the art commission didn't want it in there. It was
Okay.
that piece I showed you that's 17 feet, 23,000 pounds of marble that I had
The
carved.
Italian piece. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll get it back to that one later.
And folks, we'll put
So,
this on the show notes too, so people can see what we're talking about.
oh,
Because like
yeah,
somebody told me a long time ago, you can't give somebody a haircut over the phone, and we need to have some visuals. So
yeah.
I'll throw that
So, so I did that, and then I moved out here uh, to California because I had got drafted in the meantime after I
for
got out of
the
steel mill.
not the Vietnam for the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I was allergic to antibiotics,
Okay.
and I had what they call fibrosis from the steel mill, scarred lungs from because in the steel mill you see these little glitter things all over the place, and you get them in your hand, and they were gold.
Oh
But
my
what it was
gosh.
pieces of brass, because what they do when you're making steel in furnaces and things like that, especially if they're lined with bricks, you get a brick maybe 12 inches by 5 by maybe 3 inches. It's heavy,
Right.
real heavy. We used to pass bricks all day long to line the furnaces. Anyway, that's all brass, and you're breathing that all the time.
Yeah.
So I got fibrosis. That's when I got out. One reason I got out of that mill
Sure.
too. So I was allergic to antibiotics, and I got out of the mill, out of there, and I came out here to California, and I lived with my sister in Moraga for a while, and then I got my own place, and I had a job in Walnut Creek. I did janitor work at a drugstore there for years, a few years, and then kept doing my art though,
Okay.
and I just continued doing my art, until I got opportunity to start working in monument companies. So I started working in monument companies, and I had some pieces cast. I worked in monument companies in Colma and San Jose for over 55 years doing specialty
No
work.
kidding.
Yeah,
Now, those two companies are also known for a lot of their work, and the bulk of their work is gravestones too, isn't it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's all monuments,
Sure.
gravestones. So I met a man out here called Lanny Panola. He was Miwok, and
Okay.
he had heard of me because I was doing. I did a couple of small. Well, they weren't small. They were big wood carvings for the Port of Oakland,
Okay.
and they were they called bumpers, those wooden pieces against the piers so ship
Sure.
wouldn't. So I did two of those for the Port of Oakland, and I had Lanny Panola, which was a friend of mine in Miwok. He had passed since then, but I had him come out and do the blessing ceremony on them.
Okay.
And then Lanny says, "Well, Harkin," he goes, "You do great work." And I said, "Well, I've been doing it all my life. That's what I do. That's who
Yeah.
I am. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm alive to do what
Yeah.
I do. I know my purpose." And he said, "Well, I have a little something I want to do with the Sonoma Mission Indians."
Okay.
Okay. So I said, yeah, Michael and I will do it. My friend Michael Brunetti, he owned the monument company. His dad, Andy, started in 1930.
Okay.
And Andy was still going at 93 doing it. Anyway, yeah, till he passed. And he told me one day when we were there, he goes, Harkin, he goes, I'm happy. And I said, what, why, Andy? He goes, my wife bought me a new Swiffer mop.
93 years old. Happy about his Swiffer mop.
He was happy about it.
Hey, sometimes it's the little things, right?
Penny more.
That's right. That's right. No more mop bucket bringing that stanky ass freaking mop bucket out, you know?
Yeah, so Andy, Michael and I did the Mission Indians Monument in Sonoma here.
At the Sonoma Mission Inn?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
No, the mission.
Oh, at the mission, the actual Sonoma. Okay.
Yeah, we did the monument at the mission. A lot of people don't know who did it, but Michael Brunetti and I did the Mission Indians
Okay.
Monument. So after that, I was living in where was I living in was it San Leandro somewhere there? I even forgot, man. I'm getting at that age.
You're still young.
So I was living there and doing work and came home one day and I only had $35. I had 2 kids, no food, $35. And I got home and my wife said, you'll never believe what happened. I said, what happened? She goes, this woman came and she was selling little fountains. And she goes, I bought one. I said, what? We only had $35. No food, not even a loaf of bread, nothing. Had 2 kids, Joe and my daughter Angelina. And they were little. They were like 5, 6 years old, something like that. And I couldn't believe what she did. You know, she goes, I felt sorry for him. I said, would you feel sorry for that lady just went and got in that damn Mercedes?
Yeah, right.
So I couldn't get upset, wouldn't do any good.
Sure.
Anyway, so the next day I got a call from a lady that she had heard about me and Karen McGowan. And Karen McGowan, George McGowan is her husband, and George McGowan's brother owned the San Francisco Giants and Safeway chain at the time.
Peter
McGowan. So she said, Harkin, I'd like you to carve me a totem pole. I said, I don't carve totem pole, but I do carve story poles or eagle poles. Because totem poles, they get pissed off at me. The Indians get pissed off. They call them totem poles because they're the ones that call them totem poles. So I said, I could make you an eagle pole or a story pole or something for your house. She goes, I want one for my cabin up in Lake Tahoe. And I said, okay, that's fine. And we had no money.
Yeah.
And I got a piece
You
of
had
that.
35 and your wife spent whatever it was.
Yeah, for a plaster fountain. I got a piece of that fountain. It was a dolphin and something with electric pump.
Yeah.
I got the dolphin. I went like that. I said,
Paris.
we can't eat it.
Oh my God. At least you have a sense of humor about it. I don't know if I would have been so kind. Like, come on.
No, I don't want to get I don't want her to get mad at me.
Yeah.
That's the worst. Oh, hell.
So you did this commission work for a lady with a house up in Tahoe.
Oh, she gave me $35,000 cash the next day.
What the? From 35 to 35 grand?
She gave me 35,000 cash.
What?
And then that's when I got asked to go to Hollywood to get an award. See, they had the newspaper come out here and they said, well, you got an Eagle Emmy Award from City of Oakland. I said, they had that in the paper. They didn't let me proofread the article. They just put the article in, and I usually have to proofread things when people write things about me. I had a lot of things written about me, but I always proofread them. So I said, I got an Eagle Emmy Award, a special award for humanitarian work, as I did work for the Sherman Indian School I
Okay.
don't know if you know that.
I'm not familiar with
Well, the
that.
Sherman Indian School was a school where they used to take the Indian kids, cut their hair, and turn them into good, downright citizens for the future. Okay,
I'll leave that parked
but
over here.
a lot of them
Yes.
passed away. A lot
Okay.
of kids died, and they had a cemetery there. So I donated a piece to their museum, and so we did that. But they don't give Emmy awards in Oakland to make everything straight. I got a accommodation from the city of Oakland, from the mayor at the time. The vice mayor, Jerry Brown, was the mayor, and he would not give us any kind of anything.
Interesting.
So anyway, Henry Chang did.
Okay.
He gave me accommodation from City of Oakland, but I got an Emmy Award from the Southern California Motion Picture Council and a Lifetime Achievement Award from them in 1999.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean,
So when I came back,
Hmm.
I had that money in the bank, and my wife Gloria, I came back. She had a ring on every finger.
She did. Oh my God. You go from a fountain to,
She
hi, honey, I'm home.
I was down there 3 days. I went down there with
Oh my goodness.
I went down there with 1, 2, 4 Indian guys, and they were all over 220 pounds. And we rented a town car,
Oh, geez.
and I was in the middle of the two in the back, and I was like this all the way down to LA.
Yeah, that's
These
like a
were big
cross-country
boys. These were
flight
big
going
boys,
from
you know.
SFO
These
to
were big boys.
JFK. Yeah.
So we got down to LA, and we kept going around in circles, back and forth, back
Oh,
and
you guys
forth.
drove down there? You didn't fly?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, Bojack, he rented a town car.
Okay.
And to ride down there with 4 Indians that were over 200 some pounds, and I was like 140.
Yeah.
I came out like a sandwich, a piece of chopped ham or something,
Ah,
or a piece of thin cheese, provolone or something,
there you
provolone.
go.
So we get down there and we keep going around back and forth. And I say, Eli, Bo, what's the matter, Bo? He goes, damn, I wish I should have brought my glasses.
Oh no.
I said, man, we were driving down there where this man didn't have
Was
his
he
glasses.
driving?
Yeah.
Oh
I
no.
said, he didn't even have his glasses. So when I got my Eagle Emmy Award, my Lifetime Achievement Award, Southern California Motion Picture Council, not from Oakland, from Hollywood. And then Bojack was the president of the Native American Stuntmen's Association in Hollywood. So he's the one that gave me that award, but the Southern California gave me the Lifetime Achievement Award. So anyway, we're down there with this guy named Billy Barty, and I think I sent you a picture. I was with Leave It to Beaver, Jerry Mather.
Jerry Mathers, yeah.
And Billy Barty, this is an older guy, and he was only maybe 3.5 feet tall. And we had pictures of him sitting on our lap. He used to play the harmonica, him and his 2 or 3 brothers. So, and then that's when I came home and I saw Gloria. She had all these rings on her fingers. And my little daughter, Angelina, she's so precious. She had a 24 karat gold cross with an emerald in the middle.
What the heck?
What? And earrings to match.
Now you got to keep doing more art just to keep the.
We still had money in the bank.
Sure.
So I bought Gloria a pair of earrings. I think it was diamond earrings at $5,000-$6,000. And I saw her on the floor one day. I said, what the hell are you doing? She goes, oh, I lost an earring. I said, what?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We had a lot of fun. But so after that, I got my awards, and then I started working in the monument companies all around the Bay here doing specialty work. And
Okay.
I got asked to do a bronze statue from the University of Berkeley of Ishi.
Who's Ishi?
You live in California, you know who Ishi is? He was the last Yahi Indian.
No kidding.
The last of his tribe. They found him in a stockyard where they were butchering cows, crouched down, and they took him to no other tribe around here could understand his language. He was the last of his people. The 49ers killed all his people.
Oh my gosh.
When they were gold mining. So they took him to the university and they were studying him. So they made recordings of him singing and talking and everything, but they didn't understand a damn word he was saying.
Sure.
So they had him in the anthropology anthropology department, and he contacted tuberculosis and died.
Oh my gosh.
So they wanted a statue of him, a bronze. So I did a model and took it to art. I deal with Artworks Foundry in Berkeley. Been dealing with them since they started years ago, 40 years ago, something like that. And then the professor says, "Well, I don't like it." And I said, "Okay." So I did one of him, issue prayer carrier, standing, and did that. And he said, "Well, I don't like it." He's one of those guys, I don't think he wanted me to do the piece, but the university did. There was a little
rub there, huh?
little thing there, So I did it anyway. My own, I have the mold yet there. I did a prayer carrier of Ishi. Anyway, he didn't want to pay for any of the bronzes or anything, so I took him to court, and I had to go to a state court. Well, I was trying to sue a state university.
Yeah.
So you could imagine how that came out. I got what the birds left.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went back to work at the monument companies doing monumental work, and I have never marketed my work. Years ago I did, I guess it'd been about 40 years ago I was in some real nice galleries in San Francisco. I sold work, $25,000, $30,000. Was in a Russian gallery.
Okay.
And the Russian gallery is pretty cool, very nice people. And they had all the pounded metal with the Virgin Mary and icons and everything all in there, and some Russian artists and things. And he goes, "Harky," he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "You want to buy a gun?" I said, "No, I don't use gun. You need." This was when Russia was breaking up. Yeah.
At the end of the Cold War.
Yeah, you need submarine. I said, "No, I don't need a submarine right now."
You need from guns to submarines.
You need jet. I said, "No, I don't need a jet." What you need? He says, "Come." And he took me downstairs, and he had this false wall, and he pulled it open, slid it open. There was a big old thing the size of your wall here. There were guns, hand grenades, rocket launchers. There was everything in there.
Oh my gosh.
I said, "No, I don't need none of this stuff." Thank you. So I stayed in that gallery till it closed. I sold a lot of art out of there. And that was the last time I ever been in an art gallery. I was in one at Fisherman's Wharf, and then another one there on Geary Street years ago. This was years ago, and that's the last time I sold any small art. I never sold it.
Okay.
I never got back into the gallery scene. I started doing my own thing, getting commissions. And then several years ago, I got a commission to do the Southeast Asia Monument at Colorado University in Pueblo, Colorado. That was for the university. We did a real big piece, about 650 people. All the people that passed away got killed in Vietnam and Southeast Asia, the men and women.
It's a tribute to them.
Yes, it was a big one. It was a big job. So I designed it, and the district attorney of the city of Pueblo was a friend of mine, and he was a retired Air Force colonel. I turned all the sketches over to him. Then he turned the sketches over to the university architect. Well, I had given him a certain price, but when you do a drawing and you give it to the architect, they add their own things.
Sure. So
the price escalated, they want to do miter corners, this and that. And once you give them the power to do stuff, and it's not their money.
Right.
It's not, what the hell do they care? It's not their money. It's the school's money. I'll do it, this and that. So he kind of changed all my little plan around, but it was basically my ideas. He just added his little dollar signs to it.
Okay.
So I did that monument, and I was asked to do another Vietnam monument at in a little city east of Pueblo, Colorado.
Okay.
So I did one there, and then I did some more, another one at the chemical depot. It was
Okay.
in Pueblo. They asked me to do a blessing for the blessing the ground with the eagle feather and the smudge and everything at the chemical depot where they were taking all the chemicals out of the 155 millimeter shells.
Okay.
They had a place there where they can
So,
get rid of all the chemicals out of them and get rid of the shells and everything. They had years of them there from Vietnam, Second War. Yeah, so they had a special place. Everybody wear their suits and everything, special rooms
full on hazmat
where
suit.
they took all the
Okay.
chemicals out of the shells, and then had to take all the shells over to the steel mill and melt them down.
Recycled material.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I've been doing art ever since. And I started getting other commissions and doing other works, and just kind of doing my own little thing. And all along I was doing small pieces
Mm-hmm.
out of wood and marble. And then in 1990, I got asked to do a piece by a friend of mine. He's a friend more than a teacher. He was a teacher, but he was also a friend, Mr. Elio Benvenuto. He recognized me. I went in there and I said, I want to do some sculpture. He was the art commissioner of the city. I went into his office. I want to do some sculpture here. He goes, who you think you are? You think you're Michelangelo? Who you think you are? I said, no, but I know how to carve. I said, I've been carving most of my life. I know how to do artwork. He goes, come to class, come to class. I never went to class. So I asked for my phone. He never called me. So I went back to him. He goes, I told you, you come to class. It was at Pier 2 at Fort Mason.
Okay.
They used to, Elio was a teacher there besides the art commissioner. He was teaching art
Okay.
there. And there was a lot of students. I'm not the only student that come out of there. There was a lot of students. So I went to class, and he liked my work so much, the way I did it and how
You did finally succumb and went to class.
Yes,
just to,
I went to
yeah,
class.
you got to do it sometimes, right?
Got out of the house.
Yeah.
So I went there, and he wasn't so much of a teacher as a teacher to me, because I pretty much knew what I was doing. See, and he knew that. So he'd go upstairs, and they had a nude model upstairs, and he wouldn't let me go up there.
Yeah.
People were drawing the nude model. And every time I go up there, he go, oh, no, 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 you stay there. Because I went one time, and the model started smiling at me, and he got pissed off. So
A
he
little
didn't.
distracting.
Yes, he didn't let me go up there
Yeah.
anymore. So I went downstairs and did the carving, and then I got to the point to where he'd leave me in charge of the class,
No way.
and he'd go work on his sculpture.
All right.
He was doing a sculpture for of St. Jude for some church in San Francisco. It was a big one. It was probably several tons out of stone, and he'd leave me with the class to teach, and if anybody needed anything. Although I still couldn't go upstairs.
There's a little bit of trust, but you still can't go upstairs. So yeah.
I worked with Elio, and then after many years, he goes, Harky, he goes, there's a quincentennial show coming up in Milano, Italy. He said, would you like to take a sculpture there? And I said, yeah, I'll take a sculpture being the quincentennial monument. I mean, a show in Italy. I said, I'll go find some marble and see what I could do. So I went to the monument companies, and they had little pieces there, because I knew all the people at the American Monument, Coleman Monument, California Monument. I worked them, in all of them. Very nice people at all these places. American Monument, my friend Joe Verhaus from Germany. He was really had a good heart, a good man. Most of the people I dealt with were real good people, from the heart people,
Sure.
So in fact, Joe, I said, Joe, when I first met Joe, he goes, I went over there and I said, I wanted some stone. He goes, you want to pay? I said, why should I pay? All your stuff comes out of the reservation for my grandpa's land, and you want me to pay for my grandpa's rocks?
How do you take that?
He started laughing. He kind of liked that, man. I said, "You got that rock from the reservation, didn't you?" I said, "Anywhere you got it in this United States was all Indian land."
Yeah. Good for
And
you.
he couldn't say nothing. He goes, "Yeah, yeah, you come and you could work here." So he had friends there. He was part of the Concordia Club, a German club in the bay down there by Colma. And his friend, it was a baker. And they used to go, and Joe liked to party once in a while,
Yeah.
you know. And I went in there one day, and he had his head down on his desk, and he couldn't even move. And his friend, his wife Agnes, she was a good one, boy, tall, blonde hair, walk stiff, you know, real orderly, you know.
Yes.
And she goes, "Just look at him. Papa, beer, papa, Wiener Schnitzel, beer, papa, the music,
Yep.
papa."
Uh-huh. My
You know,
grandfather
he
used to
goes,
play the accordion after he had a couple glasses of
she goes,
Gallo Chablis.
she goes, "Just look at him now. He can't even pick up his head."
Oh
She
my
was, it
gosh.
was just boom, boom, boom on him, man. He couldn't do nothing. But she wasn't like that when he was sober, you know.
So did he get you the stone that you ended up turning that piece into,
No,
or?
now here's the story on that one. So my friend was a doctor in Santa Clara, and a lot of people don't know that after the 1906 earthquake, they took a lot of the rubble over to Santa Clara to a landfill.
I read that here, but I want to hear the
Yeah,
story directly from
and
you.
so my friend was a doctor, and he was expanding his office, and he called me. Said, "Hey, Harkin," he goes, "You want some marble?" I said, "Yeah, I could use some. We're getting ready for a show in Italy, you know, the exhibition '96. That was in 1990."
Yeah.
So I went over there and I had a little Toyota truck, and there was these huge pieces of marble there laying there, you know, 7,000 pounds each. He goes, "You could have it all. Just take it.
You can't fit in a Toyota, but yeah,
You
you
know,
figure
the
that.
construction company will load it up for you."
Yeah.
So I had to call my friend, had a trucking company, call a crane,
Uh-huh.
call a tractor. $7,000, man. I said, "What the hell?" I had to pay for the trucking and to put it on. And then we got it over the monument company. They took it off with a big forklift. I took it over to American Monument Company, and I worked on it there with Joe. And
You said you've been worked on that piece for over 7 years, didn't you?
six.
6. Okay.
And during that time period, uh, Elio passed away,
Okay.
and Modesto passed away. Modesto Lenzone. He had a restaurant in San Francisco years ago. You know, he give you a plate, maybe a little plate like this, and put some food on it, charge you 60, $80. And
What the heck? Yeah.
And Modesto was a character himself. He was a kind of a shorter Italian guy, always smiling. He was in the art business too. See, he sold art. He sold artist artwork. So I had a piece of artwork in there that he sold to the head of IBM. That was 500 pounds of crystal, quartz crystal, and I had carved a Inca type head out of it. Beautiful. And put some 24 karat gold in the symbol of Incas, you know, in it. It was a beautiful piece. He sold that to the head of IBM at the time for undisclosed amount of money.
Sure.
I got a little bit of it, but I didn't get what he got. But
Right.
and then Modesto, I went over his place. His son's out here, Eugene Lanzone. Eugene's a very nice boy too. I call him a boy. He's probably in his 40s, 50s now, but he was a young guy then. And I went over to the restaurant to thank him. And my friend Jim Callahan, his brother Tommy, owns Opera Plaza.
Okay.
I haven't seen Jim. He probably if he's still alive. A lot of these people I left here, 25 years ago, and they were in their 40s or something, or 50s. Come back, and the ones that aren't gone are old.
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm 76, but I can still walk around and things. Still get beat up by my wife.
Yeah.
But so I went over there, and I see Jim running out of Modesto's place, his restaurant, and Eugene was following him. and he was chasing Jim. Modesto was chasing Jim with a chair. Well, they got in an argument because Modesto told Eugene, he turned into the devil. He turned into the devil. I'm chasing the devil. He had a chair chasing Jim Callahan down.
Downtown, like cross Van Ness or what?
No, he just right out of the restaurant. Have you ever been to
Okay.
Opera Plaza there? He had a restaurant downstairs there.
Okay.
And Eugene grabbed him and made him stop. And he goes, Dad, what's wrong? He says, he accused me of plugging up the drain. He said, I was pouring grease down the drain. He says, I don't know, use grease. I cook it with olive oil.
God. Oh.
Basic flat of it is, neither one of them want to pay for a plumber.
Right.
Hey. So anyway, I dealt with that, and then after Modesto passed away, after Elio passed away, Modesto passed away, I had to put the piece. I finished it. I didn't put all the gold on it. I still have a lot of gold to put on it, maybe $10,000 worth of gold. I put it in storage at my Michael Brunetti's place, California Monument in San Jose. It's 23,000 pounds, 17 feet of white Italian statuary marble, all carved, ready to go. It's been there since for about 23 years since I left here. I got called to go take care of my father. He was passing away several years ago. The kids were still little. He had Parkinson's from working in the steel mill.
Yeah.
So he passed away, and then I started getting the jobs out in Pueblo, the monument jobs, little jobs. Well, they weren't little, but they were jobs. And then the kids were growing up, getting grown by then. They wanted to come back to California. They didn't like Pueblo. There's nothing there. It's a small, tiny town with nothing to do, For kids, not recommended.
Okay.
Most of the people in small towns, they join the service.
Sure.
And excuse me. I've been talking so much, and anyway, so the kids wanted to come back to California, so they came back, and my wife and I stayed there. And I got these little jobs there, the monument jobs for Vietnam. And they said, well, we want you guys to move out with us. So they had got a house here, 3-bedroom, 3-bath house in Antioch.
Okay.
So we moved out here a couple of years ago, and I still had like 35 pieces of small work, all stored. I had given to my daughter, Angelina, and she had them in storage all these years. That's part of the pieces I showed you, cedar pieces, because I never stopped carving.
Okay.
And I stayed carving and started Social Security, pay my rent, Social Security, and rent was cheap. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, trash paid, $650 a month.
Yeah. So because we're coming close to the top of the hour here, let's talk about the project that you have, because you just recently picked up a commission
forgot about that.
It's coming up on the 22nd of March locally here on Miwok land at the College of Marin. You have a piece that's being installed there, right?
Right.
On the 22nd. So let's talk about that briefly, and then.
Well, the blessing ceremony is the Miwoks are going to come out and bless it and do the ceremony on the 11th, which is Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. Coming up this Wednesday.
Yeah, this Wednesday.
A couple weeks away.
So my wife wanted to donate a piece.
As in,
I had done a piece for a veterans monument in Pueblo, and the man I was working with passed away, the city councilman. And when there's money in a city fund, and something happens like that, all the other departments grab the money.
Sure.
So they took the money, and I had started this piece in 2015.
Okay.
And I worked on it 5 years. And then I had it in storage for 5 years at my buddy's trucking company. So we donated that piece to Marin Valley College. And it's going to be
College of Marin, right?
Yeah. College of Marin. So it's already up, but the blessing's going to be and on Wednesdays when they're going to have the unveiling of it. It's about 8,000 pounds of granite, uh, black and salt pepper granite with the base. And I worked on that 5 years on and off because Colorado, you can't really work in the winter. It gets cold, you know. We were living in an Airbus in a lot where I was working on it. And it gets 20 below zero. You drop water on the floor, it's frozen.
Yeah.
It drops them away. You keep the water in the ice box so it doesn't freeze. And it had goldfish, and they were in suspended animation, just
That's the line of this whole interview. It's just like Savannah finding Nemo. It's a goldfish. Ted Lasso, are you listening? It's like be the goldfish,
you can't,
but not in suspended animation.
Goldfish, man, they're hardy.
Oh my God, are you serious?
So
They'll
when
come back
when
after the water
thawed out,
thaws?
yes,
Are you kidding me?
they came back to life.
No way.
And they were that big too.
Oh my
I bought them
goodness.
when they were small.
See, my little 10-year-old kid and myself wants to go test this theory. I'm not going to do it, but oh my gosh.
So yeah, goldfish, you can't kill goldfish.
Oh wow.
So I bought them to use for bait for fishing, and my daughter wouldn't let me kill them, take them. So I bet I had 10,000, no, at least $1,000 in feeding those fish to get them that big, you know.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to take them to the pet store and give them away, you know, before we came out here. And but anyway, the 22nd is the powwow. The blessing of the stone is the 11th.
Okay.
And no, I didn't get an Emmy award or Eagle Emmy from Oakland. They had it in the paper. No, that didn't happen. Got it from Southern California Motion Picture Council and a Lifetime Achievement Award from Southern California Motion Picture Council.
And
in Hollywood, not Oakland.
And you know what, Harkin, I'm glad that we took the time to do this because I didn't know you at all. We have a mutual acquaintance with your cousin.
Oh,
and,
Jonathan, yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that when I decided to start this show, as I told you before we started recording here, I did it because I want to be able to have messages like this just put out there and share with the world. And there isn't necessarily any ulterior motive behind any of it other than telling stories that people may or may not have heard. And I want to sincerely
I don't
thank
drive
you.
anymore.
No, you got your son driving you all the way up here from Antioch, and
my son drives, and my daughter won't let me drive with her because she doesn't like to be told how to drive. Neither does Joe, so I don't tell him anymore.
Yeah.
But my daughter's a little more emotional about it.
Yeah. Well, it is. I probably shouldn't be driving either, but
I have glaucoma. I have progressive glaucoma, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to really carve like I want to.
Sure.
But I still got several years in me left. You know, I'm still not in hospice or anything.
You're only 76. So let's wrap on this because it's one of the things I like to do on the show. If there's like just one quick thing that you would say to aspiring artists, you already hit on the head, but I want to hear it out of your words of anybody who's out there who's considering a creative endeavor, pursuing their dreams, or enjoying their art and letting it be an expression of who they are. What would you want to say to that one person, regardless of how old they are?
Well, just believe in yourself. No matter if you're doing art or anything else, believe in yourself and keep going. Keep waking up and be consistent. That's what I taught my kids. Be consistent. Whatever you do, be consistent and be happy. And you're consistent in what you love to do, it all works out.
It does.
It works out. You don't have to worry. If you believe in yourself, things happen. Situations happen. It's just like that little dolphin that I tried to eat.
Yeah, honey, it ain't gonna give me any sustenance. Oh my God.
I had $35,000 in my man. And the piece wasn't even done. Miss McGowan was such a beautiful human being. I did a eagle pole for her school in Woodside.
Okay.
Nueva School. Nueva is the name of it.
And she paid you for it and wasn't even complete.
Wasn't even done. She just wrote me a check, but she trusted me.
That's so great. So
she was
believe in yourself.
Beautiful human being. Her and her husband George. They had said her cabin was up in Tahoe. I went up there and it was on the North Shore and it was the biggest cabin I ever saw. I mean, I was used to Colorado where they had wooden cabins, you know. Yeah. This was all rock, stone, brick. I mean, beautiful.
It's almost like an oxymoron when you have a stone cabin, right?
You look over at her house, it's all glass. You can see the whole lake from her house. She had a little chair you sit in, take you down to the boathouse, and she had a Riva boat sitting in there, ocean going boat. And but you want to talk about some nice people. I mean,
Yeah.
very beautiful. I've been very blessed in my life, like you, beautiful human beings. I run into beautiful human beings. I don't get out of the house maybe once a month to go to the store and shop now
Yeah.
because I don't drive. If I go out anywhere, Joe takes me, or Angelina won't take me, but, but Joseph will take me. And I have three daughters and my son Joe. Uh,
Well, thanks for taking time out of your day, and Joe too for driving you up here.
oh yeah,
And I know
you're
it's a bit of a
welcome. Thank
schlep, but you
you.
got some more work to do here. And
Yeah,
folks, we've
like I
been
say,
visiting with Harkin Lucero Jr. This show's called Dare to Be Great, Dare to Be You. And as you can tell from our conversation, that's subjective. And what Harkin just said is believe in yourself. And we're going to end on that note. No matter what, be a kind human being and believe in yourself. And you know what? You will be great if you do those things because that's what the world needs,
yeah,
more of you.
yeah, because we're great, just like we are. You just have to keep working on it.
That's it. Thanks again, folks,
Thank
and we'll
you.
see you next time.
Bye. Oh, this is my generation.